Let me start with a question. Have you noticed how a grocery bag that cost $50 a few years ago somehow costs $80 today, and yet feels emptier? That, my friend, is inflation sneaking into your wallet like a thief in the night. Here's the good news. You don't need a multi-million-dollar portfolio, a PhD in economics, or inside access to some hedge fund opening to fight back. What you need are practical, fast strategies that protect your savings while inflation does its ugly dance. In this video, I'll show you 10 battle-tested ways anyone, whether you're earning $1,000 a month or managing $10,000 in monthly cash flow, can protect, grow, and even thrive during inflation. And trust me, the best tips are coming in the later points, so stick around. If you're serious about building wealth and breaking free from money problems, hit that subscribe button. We've got powerful content lined up to fuel your journey. Let's dive in. Number 1. Don't let your cash sit idle. Cash feels safe, right? But during inflation, cash is like ice cubes left in the sun. It melts fast. If you parked $10,000 in your savings account 5 years ago at a 0.1% interest rate, today it buys significantly less gas, groceries, or even Netflix subscriptions. Every idle dollar is costing you. It's not neutral. Inflation is basically a silent tax eroding your future purchases. Imagine your money shrinking while you sleep. Annoying, right? So, redirect that cash into safe liquid assets that can at least keep up with inflation, like Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS, short-term bonds, or even high-yield savings accounts offering 4-5% interest today. That's like putting your ice cubes into a freezer instead of leaving them on the counter. Later, I'll show you how dividend-paying ETFs and index funds can outpace inflation long-term. But first, you must stop letting cash rot in the bank. Number 2. Build a side shield with dividend stocks. Here's a simple truth. Inflation loves to attack fixed incomes, but dividend stocks can be your shield. When you own shares of solid companies that pay dividends, think Apple stock, Microsoft stock, or reliable dividend-paying ETFs, you're essentially giving your money a job that pays rent every quarter. Imagine this. You own $10,000 in dividend stocks yielding 4%. That's $400 a year in passive income. While inflation makes everything expensive, your money sends you a little thank you paycheck. The trick is to focus on companies with strong histories of not just paying but increasing dividends. Many firms in the S&P 500 have raised dividends for decades, regardless of recessions, inflation spikes, or market volatility. That's stability you can't ignore. We'll dive into real estate and rental properties later, which pair beautifully with dividends to protect your wealth. But for now, just remember, inflation eats fixed money, while dividend stocks feed you cash flow. Number 3. Leverage real estate without overstretching. A friend of mine bought a modest rental condo for $120,000 a decade ago. The rent was $900 a month. Today, that same condo is worth over $220,000 and rent pulls in $1,600,000 monthly. Inflation? Instead of hurting, it boosted equity growth and cash flow. Here's where people get confused. They hear, invest in real estate and imagine buying multi-million-dollar rental properties in America's hotspots. Relax. You don't need to be wealthy or own 10 apartments to benefit. Real estate naturally rises in value when inflation hits. Rent goes up, property prices appreciate, and your mortgage payment stays the same if it's fixed. That means over time, you're paying back yesterday's dollars for today's inflated value. Number 4. Anchor yourself with index funds. If there's one simple wealth-building strategy that beats inflation over the long haul, it's index funds. The S&P 500 historically returns around 10% annually, which outruns inflation comfortably. While the cost of bread, gas, or tuition rises, the companies in that index are the very businesses raising prices and making profits from inflation. By owning index funds, you're not fighting inflation. You're joining the team that benefits from it. Think about it. When Amazon shares climb because delivery costs rise, or Nvidia stock soars because AI demand inflates prices, your index fund captures that growth automatically. You don't need to pick winners. You own a slice of them all. The real kicker? Combining index funds with dividend stocks multiplies both growth and cash flow, something we'll revisit in point 8. Number 5. Cut the silent budget leaks. Inflation is not only about prices rising, it's also about your spending not adapting. Every dollar you waste today is a soldier lost in your financial army. Inflation isn't just external, it's amplified by our personal spending leaks. Create a quick audit. Print 1 month of bank statements. Highlight recurring charges. Cancel what doesn't add genuine value. If you save $200 monthly, that's $400 annually. Invest that into a dividend-paying ETF or bonds, and suddenly you're not just saving, you're compounding. Number 6. Use bonds the right way. A lot of people roll their eyes at bonds thinking they're boring. But bonds can be your stabilizer when inflation shakes everything else. Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS, are literally designed to rise with inflation. If you invest $5,000 into TIPS and inflation spikes by 6%, your principal adjusts upward automatically. That's not cool like Tesla shares or IPO allocations, but it keeps your money safe. Short-term bonds and bond ETFs also offer a hedge. The key is balance. Don't put 100% into bonds, but don't ignore them either. Think of them as the airbags in your financial car. Hopefully, you don't need them, but when you do, you're grateful. Number 7. Hedge with alternative assets. Inflation protection isn't just stocks and bonds. Smart entrepreneurs diversify into alternative assets like commodities, gold, or even art. When the dollar weakens, hard assets often strengthen. Let's be clear. You don't need to hoard gold bars in your basement. A small allocation through ETFs that track commodities or gold is enough to balance the portfolio. Crypto? High risk. But for those willing to stomach volatility, Bitcoin and Ethereum sometimes act as digital hedges, though they swing wildly. If you play here, it should be with money you can afford to lose, not your retirement portfolio. Here's the trick. Think small percentages. 5–10% in alternatives can cushion the blow of inflation without gambling your future. Number 8. Automate and compound everything. You've heard of compound interest, but most people don't let it work its magic. Inflation is relentless, so your wealth-building strategies must be relentless too. That's where automation comes in. Set up auto investments into index funds, dividend stocks, or even fractional Apple shares. Automate transfers into high-yield savings for short-term goals. When your system runs on autopilot, you stop relying on willpower. Think about it. $500 monthly into the S&P 500 for 20 years becomes over $300,000 with average returns. That's how you crush inflation, not in one dramatic move, but by letting compounding quietly do the heavy lifting. Number 9. Grow your income faster than prices rise. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't always shrink your budget enough to beat inflation. At some point, you must earn more. That's not about hustling endlessly. It's about strategic skill building. Investing $200 in an online course that helps you freelance, code, or consult can return thousands in new income streams. One upgraded skill could bring in $10,000 extra annually. That's inflation-proofing at its best. Entrepreneurs do this naturally. They see inflation as opportunity, raising prices or creating new offers. You can borrow that mindset even as an employee. Negotiate raises, start side hustles, offer services online. The wealthy don't just defend, they expand. Number 10. Play the long game with patience. Here's the final and most underrated tip. Inflation feels scary in the short term, but history shows that disciplined investors who stay consistent always come out ahead. The wealthy aren't panicking every time prices spike. They know their portfolio: stocks, bonds, real estate, index funds, dividend stocks, works because time is the great equalizer. If you panic and pull out every time there's volatility, you're letting inflation win twice, once through rising costs and again through lost growth. So commit to the process. Use systems, diversify, automate, and keep building. In 5 years, you'll look back and thank yourself. Here your takeaway from this video. Inflation isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It forces you to stop being passive with money and start being intentional. Anyone, whether you're in America or abroad, whether you have $500 or $50,000, can protect savings, build equity, and grow wealth. Discipline, patience, and smart systems beat inflation every time. The question is, will you set up your financial freezer before your ice cubes melt? In every video, I try to discuss and address the factors that surely improve the chances of your success. If you like this also, subscribe the channel, like and share the wealthy knowledge to your loved ones. Now, if you want to know why simplicity is the ultimate wealth strategy, then watch this video. I'll see you there.